Hi, everyone. So Raji is going to talk a lot about AI, the technology behind, what goes into the actual implementation of the technology. But there's a bigger picture, I guess, in play as well. Something that Javi talked about earlier, especially in the not-for-profit sector, where there are certain challenges. It's a very unique sector with its own unique challenges, and one of which is just cybersecurity adoption and the maturity of cybersecurity controls in not-for-profits, which, due to various other reasons, may not be potentially where they could be. Or, if you compare it to, big tech and big enterprise, they may struggle a little bit in that area. And especially when you're adopting a new technology like artificial intelligence, and you're building out agents, you're deploying LLMs, things like that. So there's a whole technology aspect, but behind that, the question about how do you actually manage security in your organization needs to be looked at as well. You'll see some interesting stats throughout this presentation. 19% of organizations report cybersecurity breach in the last year, with highest incident rates in social services. So it's a sector of business that does get impacted quite a bit. AI adoption remains in its early stages, less than 10% using AI regularly, but directors do see, the potential of AI to improve productivity. But while we improve productivity, we also want to make sure that the organization and the brand is protected as well.
Thanks, Dan. Looking at a number of reports that around the financial sustainability around NFP, and this is obviously front and center in our conversations, the number of NFPs, and these are the specific stats that we can talk about. And there is concerns around financial sustainability, and also how do you not just short-term financial system, accuracy, but also future. How can you have long-term sustainability and as well. So there are a lot of challenges associated with that, and then that means that there's cost pressures. There's lots of other challenges that you need to address, and we recognize that. Next. We're going to cover a few things around common misconceptions and risks associated with that, where Dan can go into a little bit more on the security side of things. But I will start with just a high level, and I actually been presenting this slide for the last year and a half, and every time I present it, there's an interesting discussion. So and I have to keep reminding ourselves and everyone around it, is that generative AI, or generally AI, is a mathematical model, right? And it's not always accurate. And I think the key thing that we forget, it needs human oversight. And it can hallucinate, it can make things up. So I think this is an important thing when you're deciding to deploy or embrace AI. These 4 things are really important to keep in mind, that this is the boundaries we are working in.